Sky Squad, we are back in the building and we got to discuss Basketball Wives Season 10, Episode 2. Now, in full transparency and disclosure, I actually fell asleep before the episode came on last night because your boy was tired, okay? We had done a lot of content yesterday, a lot of news and recaps and all that other stuff, in addition to, everything else that I'm doing which I will be telling you guys about soon. So I'm excited about that. But anyway, um, listen, I watched this while I was on the bike at the gym. So I don't have my usual notes in front of me, but it is fine because I have my opinions on a lot of the things that occurred in last night's episode. So listen, if you are in the chatterization, of course, let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching this live, well, it's not really live; it's pre-recorded. But I'm doing that as a premiere, so it feels like the family is still here together. Okay. And then let me know what you would rate the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna give this episode. I'm gonna give it honestly, guys. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 7.5, and I'm trying to be a little less lenient. But no, I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. And let me tell you why. I do feel that they are taking their time with character development and stories for each of the ladies. And what I'm also happy to see that it's not just going to be just the Brandi and Malaysia of it all, but we're also peeling back the layers and looking at exactly what is going on with Malaysia, what is going on with each of the ladies. And I feel like because there are so many cast members, it seems as though what we're going to be getting is episode by episode a closer look at specific characters in each episode in addition to the rest of the ladies. So, for instance, I felt like this episode was very Duffy heavy. It was very Duffy heavy. It was giving us a bit of Brandi and Malaysia, as well as a bit of Brooke and a bit of Angel Brinks, with British and Jennifer and Jackie kind of playing in the background in this episode. And we just have to see what you guys think about that and what the ratings show. But I don't mind it because these are ladies that we need to get reacquainted with because the show is so fresh and filled with, characters that we haven't seen in such a long time. Okay. So let's go ahead and start things off with the the Brandi and Malaysia of it all. They continued their conversation from the previous week. And basically, this is what's going on. Brandi misses the friendship. She doesn't understand why Malaysia, had not reached out to her when her dad died, but also has not reached out to her in the time between when she learned her dad died in last week's episode at Jackie's vow renewal and the point where they're meeting up on this rooftop. For Malaysia, she is still at a point where, for her, she felt like she expressed her condolences, but, that's really the long and short of where their relationship is. And she ends the conversation basically telling Brandi, I am all the bad things that you think I am. And we can just leave it at that. And I'm done with this conversation. And so she goes back to sit down with the group and everybody notices the tension. So Jennifer pulls Malaysia off to the side and then Brooke pulls Brandi off to the side. And Jennifer asks her, listen, do you miss the friendship? And Malaysia's like, no, I don't. And it just sounds to me like, well, we'll get into it in just a bit, but over on the Brandi Brooke side of the conversation, it is obvious that Brandi misses the friendship in some way, shape, or form. But I guess the question is, what has happened between the two ladies in these 3 years that they have not spoken? And what is the reason why they haven't picked up the phone so much so that it seems as though Malaysia is a little less empathetic to Brandi's feelings. But if they haven't spoken in 3 years, why is there so much emotion surrounding what they used to have for Brandi if they haven't spoken in that long a period of time? Now, I can see, but on the flip side of that, I have to say this. When you have a long-term friendship with somebody and there is some time that's gone by, the friendship is likely going to be different. And that's just the long and short of it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, and I think that what's happening for Brandi is that I'm thinking that perhaps she thought that once the issue was put out there on the table, that there would have been some movement on Malaysia's part to make an effort to, rebuild that friendship. And I think maybe as I talk it through with you guys, that's where Brandi is. There's a disappointment that Malaysia is not willing to build that bridge along with Brandi to get back into a good space with one another. Meanwhile, Duffy is worried that, similar to when Duffy was actually on the season a couple like years ago, that Malaysia and Brandi getting their friendship back together would mean that Brandi would be mostly aligned with Malaysia for the most part, like their friendship used to be, because she said that it's always been Brandi and Malaysia, and everyone else came second to in Brandi's life. But what I would love to know is, in these 3 years, who has become Brandi's ace boon coon during this period of time? Have Duffy and Brandi maintained that same level of girlfriend relationship? And when I say girlfriend, yeah, don't think that I'm meaning nothing like like anything other than just like that's my girl. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm just wondering. I need more clarity on what's been going on in these 3 years with Brandi and some of and Duffy as well. Okay. For Malaysia's part, she meets up with ZSwag, who we know that she's very close with. And it's good to see that they've maintained that relationship, because I do feel like Malaysia does need some close, friends on this show. And I know a lot of you guys feel a certain type of way about Malaysia because of things that have transpired over the last couple of seasons. I would ask that we, at this point in time, try to move forward with our thoughts about particular characters, because I feel like this is a fresh season. It's been enough time in between. And let's look at where the ladies are right now and then judge them on their actions that we see in this season. I try to go into each new season with that thought in mind, and unless I see aspects or actions that are similar to past actions, in which I have to now say, okay, there's been no real change. With Malaysia, it does feel as though, as I stated last week, that she is tired. There is a level of fatigue that I'm sensing with her. And again, it reminded me of when Tammy Roman was tired of, dealing with everything that she was dealing with on Basketball Wives. And it feels like Malaysia is at that point, because we also know that Malaysia is dealing with, as she said today, I mean, well, on the episode, depression. And it's a lot of it seems to be related to, as she said, sleepless nights because of what she's going through with her kids. Um, you know, not apparently not getting child support. We talked about that last week. I don't know why she's not, taking this man to court to get child support. This all should not be falling on her shoulders. And I feel like it's unfortunate, because even when she does later in the episode have a conversation with Jackie, which causes her, because she had to go back to Atlanta because she missed her kids and she wanted to be with her kids. And then, the ex is traveling so much, and she tells Jackie that I'm gonna have to bring the kids back with me because they want to be with mom. And it's such a fascinating story, because I feel like this is the reality of Malaysia's life. And so often with reality TV, this is not a side of the cast that we get to see. And I think it's very interesting, because I would like to know, more about what that looks like for her now, because she says it's going to be me and the kids in this small 2-bedroom apartment. And I'm wondering, is this is the apartment that production is providing for them so that she can stay in LA and work? Because likely she's contractually obligated to still do the show. And likely too, this is probably a source of income for her. So she's got to kind of do what she has to do. And now looking at the broader scope of where she is in her personal life, to be quite honest with you, having been in like, I can't speak on what it is to be a single parent. I really can't. And my heart goes out to every single mother or single father out there who is doing the doggone thing for their kids. But what I can speak on is being in dire financial straits and not having the mental capacity um nor the time to deal with, arguments and petty stuff, dealing with friendships. Though I do feel personally for Brandi, because I can tell that she wanted to build that relationship back with Malaysia. But I also think that there is a point in life where certain friendships just devolve to the point where it no longer makes sense for this person to be in my life, because I am dealing with the real life stuff here. And it just, my life is this bubble, and there's no space in it for certain people. I get it. I understand it. I totally get it. It happens in life, unfortunately. And I've also been in the space where maybe Brandi is, where she doesn't quite understand that, Malaysia is in that space with her now. And it doesn't make sense, because she's thinking that there's a way to get back to that point. So it is a really sad situation that we're going to see, I think, come to an explosive head next week. Okay. Just to kind of move on to a couple of other things that I think we need to talk about throughout the episode. We do see Brandi and Brooke getting closer, because Brooke, is seeing kind of, where Brandi is with Malaysia and wants to be a friend to her. She even takes Brandi with her to get her nipples pierced, which it ain't as smooth as they make it look. y- I tried it when I was younger, with the one, and that thing. Listen, I said, no, sir. Because I'm a piercings and tattoos kind of guy. Like, I just am. If honestly, if I didn't work in news and stuff like that, I would have tattoos all over my hands and everything. But I try to keep it a little bit, um just a little more low key with the tattoos. But yeah, I would have them everywhere. So I know the piercing game, and I know that thing right there, that thing hurt. Okay, chime down if you ever had a piercing right there, and let me know how you felt about it, because again, it ain't as smooth and easy as it looked. Okay. um Speaking of not as easy as it looks, let's talk about Duffy real quick, because she's in a situation where Duffy is a DJ. And as a DJ, as a former DJ, I can really relate to this. And I would love to speak with her about this at some point. I don't do a lot of interviews. I usually, it usually, interviews usually happen very organically for me. And she's somebody that I would put on my wish list right now, because, and I usually put it on my wish list. I might say it out loud sometimes, but um just as a former DJ, I would love to talk to her about, where she is in this at this point in her life, because she has a child, she has which seems to be a very good man, which I love for her. And they seem very, very happy and very much in love, and very much, just very into the family of it all. But I also admire what Duffy has been able to build as a DJ. And I admire her. I love her story so much. I really, really do. She got a divorce, picked up, got on YouTube, and literally taught herself how to DJ, to the point where she had French Montana calling her to go out on tour with him. That's some amazing stuff right there. And I respect her career so much. So it's difficult for me to kind of watch her, as her husband is kind of like, yo, we got this family now and we need you home. It's a difficult decision to have to give up something that you love. And that's not to say that she can't, I'm sure she can find, gigs around, wherever she is, in LA or Vegas, or, in Texas. I thought that's where they were based out of. But, but those gigs are, unless you're getting a residency or something like that, those gigs don't I'm sure don't drop the coin down the way French Montana gonna drop that coin down for these shows out in the Dubai and in the Africa and everywhere in between. Okay, so I feel for this space that she's in, And French basically tells her, when she calls him and tells him that she's thinking about this decision, and he respects it. I love how he had this conversation with her, because you could tell that they really do have a good relationship. He says basically, listen, if you, I respect whatever you want to do, but at this point in time, if you decide to, take a break from this, you can't come back, because I'm gonna have to hire another DJ, and that's just gonna have to be what it is. And that's the reality of the entertainment game. Sometimes you got to make some tough decisions, and she's in a space where she's gonna have to make a tough decision, and I'm interested to see what she does. We have Brooke. We learned that she's been married, I think, for the past 5 years, and she's pretty much been a housewife for these past 5 years. So she's gonna be having a birthday party. She takes all the ladies out for, well, some of the ladies like Brooke, not Brooke, but Brandi, um, Duffy, and British out to the salon, and they catch up for a bit. And there's this running joke that Duffy keeps making about you know Malaysia being Brandy's best friend, because Brandi does admit that she does want to fix that relationship, and she still loves Malaysia. And Duffy keeps, kind of joking her about it. I think that she might feel some type of way, like Brandi might be pushing her to the side if they get back to, if they get their friendship back on track. But I wouldn't even worry about that if I'm Duffy, because I mean, I feel like everybody, your friendships are friendships, and you're back on this show now. So you build bonds with the people that you're building bonds with, like Angel Brinks, who we see Duffy with quite a bit. Angel Brinks is dealing um with Rockstar basically at this point. Duffy and her man have a dinner with Angel Brinks and her man Rockstar. And I this is what I will say about Rockstar. And this is not a knock to him, but it's more of a sort of conversation that I would have with Angel Brinks. Angel, I respect what she does. I respect the business that she's built. I think she is, a very creative designer. I think sometimes she be wearing a little bit too much in her confessional. Like, girl, take one thing off. Actually, take two things off, and it's usually the big earrings. I don't know, because it looks like all the jewels are about to eat her face. However, that is not, listen, I feel like her stuff is made for a spectacle, and I admire that. I also admire what she has been able to build, and she's built it on her own through hard work. And if you live in LA, you really that name Angel Brinks. It means something in the design world at this point. But what I would tell her was, girl, I mean, listen, you saw what type of personality Rockstar had when he was on Love and Hip Hop. And you have to make a decision whether or not you can deal with that type of personality, because she talked about, not being used to having somebody yelling at her. And I don't like nobody yelling at me either. Like that is the fastest way to end a conversation with me, is to start yelling, because 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be yelling. Even if we're in an argument, I'm not yelling, because I'm not going to be raising my voice. For some reason, it just doesn't happen unless I'm extremely drunk, and that is one of the reasons why I do not drink that much anymore. However, I do feel like if I'm talking to you in a very calm voice, but I can also be very stern with my voice, then you should be able to either match that decibel level and not take it any more higher, because I'm not going to yell. I can understand what she's saying, but you've seen him on other reality TV shows, and he has an explosive personality, at least on the screen. So one would imagine that if people are true to their personalities on TV, that he may have that capability to have that explosive personality with you as well. So I would just have to say that you kind of maybe knew a little bit about what you were walking into with him, because you have hopefully saw him on TV. Okay. And this is where I get into checking the whole facts. It just means, like, take a look around. Like, oh, he yells a lot when he's on the screen. He might yell at me too. I don't know. You can't judge a book by its cover, but baby, you can sure get an idea of the contents of the book. Okay. Meanwhile, but she's with child. So my hope is that he can settle his personality down to match her, to match, they can find a way to match energy a little bit better when they have whatever issues they're having, because she has such an issue that she has to leave Brooke's birthday party early, and that's pretty much the big point of the episode is, this um the issue that she's having with Rockstar, and she pretty much has to tell Brooke later that they're taking some time apart. I mean, she tells it's so many B's on this show. She tells Duffy later that she's got to take a break from Rockstar because they just keep arguing or whatever. Um, and that was pretty much the episode. Malaysia doesn't make it to um Brooke's birthday party because she's dealing with her kids and stuff in Atlanta, and the ladies start to question why she's not there, and Brandi kind of makes some excuses for her, like, well, maybe she'll come later. And Duffy is still going on about this best friend thing. That's my best friend, and Brandi is like, girl, I'm gonna need you to stop. And I do feel like Duffy is being a little bit insensitive in this moment because clearly Brandi is hurt by whatever is going on with her in Malaysia. And I don't think she really knows where Malaysia is at this point. And so Brandi has to basically pull Duffy to the side and be like, girl, I need you to stop doing this whole joking thing. And, Duffy's like, well, I'm partly just kind of making light of the situation because I know that it deeply affects you. And you keep making excuses for Malaysia when she clearly just doesn't want to be here or in this space with you. And so Brandi makes a decision at that moment that she's going to really embrace the ladies that are there for her in this moment and get to know some of the rest of the ladies and enjoy the company that she has. And she's going to have to put Malaysia on the back burner for now because she just needs to really focus on the people that are present for her in her life at this moment. And that was the episode. And so I am gonna raise it up a couple of points because I did feel like we got some good story. And a lot of times when I'm watching these shows, I'm not looking for always explosive moments. I'm looking for story. I am looking for take me on a journey with these characters, and I like that's what we're getting with this season of Basketball Wives. Again, I feel like they're taking their time, they're building story, and of course, there's going to be some mess that pops off next week. But you know, right now, I'm liking what we're going, what we got going on here. Now, y'all, let me know in the chat what y'all think about the episode, and I will catch you guys in the next video.